thought, what an honor it is to be here. Really, the truly natural home, not the literal natural home, but the true place where this poem would have originated if I'd grown up in Virginia. I grew up in Ohio, but really I was watching herons fly into swamplands and thinking about their nests. So when Jenna approached me and asked if she could use this poem, I was like, what better place for this poem? I can't begin to imagine. This is better than imagination. This is real. Blue heron. Sometimes she started on the northern edge and worked her way south along the shoreline. Sometimes she flew across the center point from different vantages, over and over, drawing an immense asterisk in the air. Always she fretted. The southern part, where the reeds grew thickest, looked like it might be dying out. The muskrats had burrowed into the western shore, just a little to one side of the aging dock, which had always been there. To the north, the ducks were distraught. A duckling had gone missing in the night. Snappers, probably, the crane would mourn.
I have been trying to do something very similar in Fauquier County, where I live. I have not been having a whole lot of luck with that, but as I told Jenna, I'm a very persistent person, and I don't do no well. So we will see where that goes. But I think this is a tremendous thing to do, and there's such a great history and structure of trails in Virginia that why aren't we all taking advantage of it? The poem that I'm going to read is called Thresholds. And the interesting thing about trails is that they frequently bring you to threshold points. Points where it's not exactly clear which way it is that you're intended to go or that you meant to go. And I wrote this poem, and we all have these moments in our lives, these kind of threshold moments where it could be in a relationship, it could be in your career, in any kind of path that you follow in your life, you can encounter these kinds of thresholds. For me, and this is a backstory for this poem, but what I intended when I was writing it really has no bearing on how you should hear it. I was at a particularly intense threshold moment of my life. And I was sort of sitting in the middle of my very kind of long, windy gravel driveway. It was just on the edge of some woods, looking at some grass, and I was just sitting there contemplating that moment. And as I was doing that, this group of fawns were just sort of at the edge of the trees, and they were just kind of like meandering around as fawns will do, until something spooked them, and then we all know what fawns do when they spook. They were just like leaping and bounding in every different direction possible. Then I saw the reason why they spooked. This very large, well-antlered buck stepped forward from the edge of the tree line and turned and stared right at me, and I knew then what to do, and that this is the source of that poem. Again, it's called Thresholds. Deep and quiet calm, drawing toward September, a moment August rich, with final ripening, just before the firm, yet gentle pluck from stem. Fawns forage between trees grown dry, even as leaves glisten, wet-like, in the keening clarity of late summer light. Then scatter sharp as a young buck steps from trees, turning to me an onyx stare. A different path this time. And the fawns are running, and the fawns are running, and the fawns are running. Like a cloud, I am disappearing at the edges, changing shape with the wind. There is no time for turning back, nor onward step that does not grieve, and my eyes open to you at last, like yellow daisies to the sun.
I retired in 2019, just in time to not have to teach the students in high school online, although now I teach a college course online. It's just not quite the same, I don't think. But I also, it coincided with the pandemic and everybody was slowing down. But it gave me a chance to spend more time in nature. And so this comes from watching the birds at my mother's bird feeders and just around the yard and the garden. White-breasted nuthatches, wall-walking edges, corners of portico bricks, lookout on ledges, performing wry tricks, our upside-down acrobats shinnying down trunks. Forest habitats furnish foraging for chunks of tree nuts, acorns wedged in, hacked open. Nasal calls, staccato horns, and chant mates chosen. Faded cavity nesters, woodpecker hole subletters. Thank you.